Check this out.
Welcome to the Pushing Forward Podcast. We getting it in right now with your host, Jamal Potts.
Spit more than metaphors and hard rhymes. I paint a portrait that gets recorded on large signs. You gotta see it clear, eyes closed.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Blaylock. When you were running for City Council of Tallahassee, what was the first thing that you wanted to do?
The first thing that I wanted to do when I got into office is to see that the people that I represented had a good, decent job where they could take care of their families. Son, it might surprise you to know that you could go to some of these plants right now and ask to see the application that was filed by the employees, and down at the bottom somewhere where it says reference, you would see Charles Blalock name on many of those. I don't care who you are and what you're doing, I always believe in second chances. There's a young girl that comes to me now. She's a nurse. She works at the VA hospital, and she was a crackhead. And every time that I see her, I would always say something positive. I would give her a hug. When I give her a hug, her hair might be standing up on her head. She might not have been through the perfume factory, so to speak, so to speak. But I didn't let that bother me. I always said something good to her. So one day she walked into my house and said to me, Mr. Blaylock, said, I want to thank you. She said, when I was out there in those streets, you never put me down. You never said nothing negative to me. And I woke up one morning and I began to think about what you would say to me. I got off of crack, I went back to school, and now you see where I am today. And there is nothing that's too big or too small that you can ask me for that I won't respond to. So the message is here. You see what is going on with the person, but you don't know why it's going on. Well, you respond to the what you're doing. Let's find out why you were doing it. And so that's what you want to address about any individual. But that's just the way things are. There is certain abilities that you are born with, and you try and pursue that, because I didn't want to pursue being an auto mechanic. I didn't want to learn about transmission. I can't do nothing today but put oil and transmission fluid in a car. I don't know nothing about car, but I can talk to you about radio. I can't talk to you about the transmission in a car, because I pursued that, which I wanted to do. I went to college. I'm a high school dropout. I dropped out of high school when I was in the 11th grade.
Why you dropped out of high school?
Well, this is what was happening. I was at home with my mother. I had a baby sister and a baby brother. My mother making like $17.50 a week. She went from $12.50 to $17.50. And then when I was 16, I had this girlfriend, and one day came to me that she was pregnant when I was 16 years of age. And I thought about this. I said, now, if I continue to work in this cafe, there's not a whole lot of help that I can give my mother or give this child's mother. So I dropped out of high school. I went into the military, but I never lost sight. I never lost sight. So I'm going to finish school. But after I got into the military, I had an allotment coming home to my mother to help her with my baby sister and baby brother. Yet there was enough money left for my mother to help my child's mother. So that was one of the reasons that I went into the military. Now I'm in the military. I comes out. I get a job. I goes to the VA and work New York. Not satisfied. I came back, but I never lost sight. I wanted to go to college. So I finished high school. I went to Alabama State. I thought I wanted to be a school teacher because I wanted to pattern after my high school coach. I wanted to be a coach, and I also wanted to teach English and literature.
Yeah.
Well, I was practice teaching at Jeff Davis High School, and this young black boy in the class kept jumping up and down. And I thought about what Coach Davis did to me when I was in about the 10th grade. He took an eraser, Coach Davis did, and threw that eraser at me and hit me right on the side of the face. It did not hurt me physically, but it hurt me mentally because my girlfriend was in that class, and that embarrassed me to death.
Yeah.
So I did the Coach Davis act. I took the eraser, I threw it at the kid, it hit him on the shoulder somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, my coach called me out into the hallway. He said, Blaylock, he said, I know what you're trying to do. He said, but with things happening like they are now, the schools begin to merge, and black and white begin to merge. He said, if you do that, you're going to wind up going to jail. I said, no problem. I said, where's the phone? I called Council Hall. I told him to send transportation over to Jeff Davis High School. I got in that vehicle. I went back to Council Hall. I withdrew from school, went home, went to the VA, talked to Mr. Bray, and I told him I wanted to come back to work.
Yeah.
He said, well, no, man, you going to quit school? I said, I'm going to quit school. I said, if I pursue my dream to be a school teacher, I'm going to wind up in jail because I don't know but one way to teach. And that's the way that I was taught. He gave me a job in the laundry, and I was satisfied. All I wanted to do was get in the gate, just like your dad. When he came in, went into housekeeping and places like that. But we worked ourselves, and when I retired with a pretty good top job, just like your dad did. So that's just basically about the whole thing. But I never lost sight of those things that I wanted to do. But the one thing, I hasn't become an ordained minister, but I am a preacher.
Yeah.
I can preach. Your mama and your aunties and all of them will tell you that Charles Blalock can preach now. But I'm not an ordained minister, so I will never become a pastor and never become a preacher in the sense of the word that we have in the black church. But when it comes to speaking, the Lord has blessed me with being able to speak. I've been compared with the Reverend Jesse Jackson and also a Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, which is a great honor bestowed upon me, but it's all natural. I didn't rehearse it. This is something that God gave me, and I know He gave it to me, so I try to pursue it in some way, but I never really tried to pursue becoming an ordained minister because I had certain levels of respect that I think one should have if you're at that level, but I had some other things. I wanted to hang out with Cokie now. So I wanted to hang out with Cokie every once in a while. You see what I'm saying? So I didn't need to call myself an ordained minister and come back and hang out with Cokie. Not that me and Cokie were doing anything bad, but we'll get that can every once in a while. You see?
Well, let me ask you this. Did you experience any backlash as far as like racism and stuff like that, in your younger days or coming up?
Yes, I did.
And before you answer that, like, do you think it's still going on today, and how can we change the narrative?
You know what? Racism is with us every day, but it's happening in a more sophisticated way as it was many, many years ago. They just don't up and say, I'm closing the door in your face because you're black. But they'll close the door in your face because they say they find other problems with it. Good example. Look at the number of blacks that you have in prison today, as opposed to the number of whites that you have. The white boys riding down, to use the word boys, I'm not being disrespectful. Is riding down, he's stopped by a white police officer. They find a little cocaine on him. They take him down to the jailhouse. They'll write him up and tell him to come to court. He'll go to court, pay a little fine, and then he's gone. So here you come. You driving along, they'll stop you, and everything is different. Everything, you're treated different. You might be called a boy. What you think you got here? What you doing with this? You go before a judge, and the judge say, the officer say you did this and you did that. You didn't do that. You just wanted the officer to respect you because you're a human being. And you subject to wind up with a big fine, or you might wind up with 180 days in jail. So there's a difference. There's racism in the court system. And it's also on a lot of jobs that you find. You find that the white boy that you went to work with, you find out he's getting a few more promotions that you are given, although they might raise you up a little bit, but they're not going to raise you above him. I don't care what kind of qualification you got. You see a lot of these white girls that are working on jobs with high school diplomas, but when the black girl goes in and black, she got to have a BS degree.
Yeah.
See, that's a practice of racism, but it's something that you can't put people in jail by because they got their policies, they got their rules, and if this is their rule, it ain't nothing that you can do about it. But take the job and do the best that you can and try to help others like you when you get on those jobs. Yeah. Now, a lot of us are getting these positions and start looking down our nose.
Yeah.
You know, because now I'm living in a better house, I'm driving a nicer car, and I'm wearing better clothes. But when I pass by you, who I graduated from high school with, you're still picking cotton, or you're working on some odd ditch digging job.
Yeah.
And it's 99 degrees weather in the hot sun. I ain't gonna stop and pick you up and put you in my Cadillac. Yet and still, that creates a problem within a problem that we have among ourselves. That's why I keep talking about raising sand about black on black crime. You got a movement going now trying to move statues. I'm not into that movement.
Yeah.
The movement that I'm in is trying to take these guns away from these young black kids that are riding around with them, not hiding them, but they got them on the front seat of their cars.
Yeah.
You know, so when a young black kid to go try and get a gun, it's easy for him to get the gun, but when that white boy go, he got to go through a process.
Yeah.
They're going to fill out an application, they're going to have to wait for 3 days or whatever. But if you was to go and apply for one, somebody gonna stick one at the back door to you because they know for sure that you're not going into M-Thing and Nova subdivision with that gun. You coming to Judgeville with that gun.
Yeah.
So that's just the way things are.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
Tip of the day. Have you ever gone through a trial and looked at it in a negative light? With a confused state of mind like, damn, this ain't right. Why me? Why is it hard for me to succeed? Why is it so hard for me to overcome eternally? Misfortunes, difficult situations, left behind, can't never get ahead. All in a society where they like to hang your failures right up over your head. Trying to change for the better, but they keep looking at the old you when it rains and pours. But who said you ain't had the strength to get through? Yeah, that storm came and that wind blew. It only made you better. Now it's time to renew.
So let me ask you this. I had your daughter Lisa on here on one of my episodes, and we were talking about the coronavirus, you know, COVID and stuff like that. So what's your take about it? About being vaccinated or people not being vaccinated?
Well, this is the way that I feel. Use your own judgment. Use your own judgment. But the problem that I'm having with people who are not taking the shot are out in the streets demonstrating and going on. That's not necessary. If you don't want to take the shot, don't take it. If I want to take it, I'll take it because I'm a believer that that shot that I take is a deterrent. It might not necessarily works 100%, but I believe it's a help for me. I've taken 3 shots.
Me too.
And I'm not telling people to go and take them. I'm not telling people not to take them. But I feel that this is what best for me.
Yeah.
So I'm saying to you out there, if a decision that you got to make, you make that decision yourself. Don't listen to Charles Blalock.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you got to live with it.
That's it. So I feel that I should take it. You see, now I've taken 3 shots, and my wife has only taken 2.
Yeah.
But I haven't encouraged her. I never said to her, you need to go get this 3rd shot. If you want to do that, you do it.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Because if I tell you right now to go and take one of those shots and you get sick and you get real sick, the first thing you're going to tell your mama, I wouldn't have took this shot. Charles Blalock had told me to take it, you know. So you're blaming me for that. But I think that is something that should be left up to you. But I will say, if I own the radio station where I work at, if I own that station and I was giving you a salary every week, and you came to work one Friday and I told you, I said, son, when you come back to work Monday, I want you to wear a red shirt every time you come to duty. I want you to wear a red shirt. Now, you might not like a red shirt, and you might not want to wear that red shirt. But if you want to continue to get that check every Friday, you gonna wear that red shirt. Now, I'm not violating your civil rights. I'm giving you a choice. You got a choice to make. So that's what I'm thinking about, like Biden is saying, about you taking a shot. Now, those people who are government employees, he can control that, but he can't control the private sector. He can, advise them or whatever it is. But I just happen to be one that favored taking a shot. But if you don't want to take it, it's left entirely up to you. I took it. I feel safe about it. But I wouldn't sit here and tell you, son, that you need to go and take that shot. This is this and this and that, this and that. I tell you, if you want to take it, you take it. If you don't want to take it, don't take it. But I will tell you, if you don't take it, when you come to my house, please have your mask on.
I was just finna say that. Like me, I took all 3 of them. And the reason why I took all 3 of them, because for one, I did it for me. And 2, my mama got a little bit older. And I wouldn't know what to do if I was to get my mama sick or any of my loved ones sick. Because at the end of the day, I gotta look out for me. I gotta look out for me. And I go to work and I'm around people every day that don't wear no masks and people that do take a shot. So I gotta protect me at all costs. And like I said, I ain't trying to get nobody else sick, so I gotta protect myself. And some people don't practice social distance.
No, they don't practice social distance. A lot of them don't practice the mask.
No.
You got a football player right now, the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. He done got suspended telling people that he'd been immunized, but he misled folks. So now they're saying he got to take the shot. So he'll rather be suspended than to go and take it. Now, I'm not knocking him. But there are consequences for you're not taking it. Because if your boss say take it, when you go to work tomorrow, and your boss say you got to take this shot, you either take the shot or go back home and stay.
Or you ain't gonna have no job.
You ain't gonna have no job.
That make good sense. So, last thing I'm gonna ask you is it any particular people in Tallahassee that you like what they doing? Like they little movement they got going on as far as like the Star Seed, the LD got, or anybody?
Well, now, that came to me. I was sitting in the bank talking to a loan officer. He might be a vice president, and we have a good relationship. He often calls me and asks me to come in and just sit down and just talk with him, father-son, so to speak. And he brought that up, and this is why people who start organizations, you got to be people of good character and offer for people to support you. And when he brought that up and he mentioned the Bell name, I said, that's a good kid. I was ready to get on top of it right then. And I told him, I said, any way that you could help them folks, I said, you do it. He said, well, Mr. Blaylock, he said, I ain't getting nothing but good reports. And the bank, the community bank, is fixing to get involved in what he's doing. See, he spent some time with a nephew of mine, my niece's son. Nephew spent a lot of time with him, and I know about his past. It's a bad wind don't never change. So the wind do change sometimes. Sometimes wind blows houses down, and sometimes winds just come along and blow the leaves. That's damaging. So no, I'm not constantly reminding people of their past. I like to talk about their presence and possibly their future. But I think he done got his hands on it, and all I hear is good things about it.
Okay. Any last words? Anything you want to say before we finish up?
Well, the only thing that I want to say to you, from what I know of you, it would be pretty hard now for somebody to come and tell me something different than what I feel about you. So it appears like you got your head on straight. You keep your head on straight and stay in your lane, because I think you are surrounded by a lot of love. And you being the boy that's staying at home with your mama, you don't really know how appreciative your mama is. To have her son. I know that you got other sisters and brothers out there, but they're all adults. They're going on their own way. And she's appreciative of that. And so, like I say, what I hear of you it's all good. So you maintain. Now, whatever you do is your business.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to do with what your business is.
Yeah.
But me as an older adult, I was in this world many, many, many years before you were ever thought of. So what I got on you is about 65 years of living before you ever came. So I can tell you about those 65 years. You can't tell me nothing about them 65 years, but I can tell you something. But now when I come to try and give you some good advice, when I leave, I got to leave with a sweet taste in your mouth, saying, because the way this man lived, he's a man that I like to listen to.
Correct. So I appreciate it, Mr. Blaylock, man, for you taking time to get on my podcast. I really do appreciate it. So what would you tell any young black kid or anybody, period? Like, what advice would you give them if it's, with school, with life, with anything?
First of all, I would say, if it's any way possible, stay in school. Stay in school. And when you see, you know what it is out there that's not a sweet taste in your mouth. Now, you can stay away from that, but don't look down on the people that you stand away from, because they are human beings too. But they're in a lane that you don't want to walk in, and if you don't want to walk in that lane, you ain't got to. Now, I'm going to tell you what, peer pressure is a mess.
Yeah.
Peer pressure is a mess. It was peer pressure that made me jump off that bridge over there going over to the cemetery, go down by the police station, go out there to Rose Hill. Well, that was peer pressure. The white boys was jumping off the bridge. The black guys say, well, the white boys, they ain't better than we are. And like a fool, we went up on that bridge. But when we went up on that bridge, I knew I wasn't going to jump off that bridge. I knew when I went up there. Yeah. So after everybody done gone off the bridge, here I am sitting up on the rail. Oh, come on, man. But here was the one thing. When my friend told me, he said, you were scared, that wasn't going to work. That was the one thing that he said. He said, oh, you just scared. Yeah. And when he said that, off that bridge I went. Yeah. So that was peer pressure. And you got to be very, very, very careful. Try, if at all possible, to stay in your lane. If you feel that it's not right, it's not right. But don't mistreat nobody or think that you are above anybody. But there's just certain things you need to stay away from. But you don't put a frown on your face when you see them. You speak to them with a smile. How you going? How's everything? Or blah, 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 say that. But he started the school with you. You're in the 9th grade now, and he didn't get out of the 3rd. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. But that don't mean you're better than he is. It doesn't mean you got to turn your nose up at him because you don't know why he didn't pursue his education. But as long as he treats you nice and treats you with respect, you do the same for him. But you got to say, partner, I ain't hanging there. Yeah. So basically that's what it is. And every once in a while on your job, your supervisor need to walk up to you. He might not be in control and giving you a raise, but every once in a while he need to just walk up to you and say, boy, done if you ain't done a good job.
Pat you on the back.
That means a lot to you.
Yep.
That really, really mean a lot to you. And that was something that I did when I was working at the VA. Yeah. I used to always say, I ain't got no money I can give you. But if y'all know you're doing a darn good job. Now, those things that I can do for you, I'll be more than happy to do it. I might be able to let you get off 2 hours early or come to work 2 hours late and never book you, never charge you the time. Those are little things that I can do, but you earn that. Yeah. You earn those good things that you do on your job by doing a good job. And don't care what others say, you got to understand that you getting a paycheck for going to your job every day. And don't you do anything that's going to interfere with that paycheck, because if that paycheck is cut off, the loaf of bread is cut off. Yep. The hamburgers are cut off. Yep. So you got to think about the benefits.
Yep. And the bill's still coming in when you ain't got no money either.
Yeah, I'm telling you. That's for sure.
But like I say, I appreciate it, and this is gonna wrap up everything. Love, peace, and hair grease. Thank you.
This is the Pushing Forward Podcast.
You're now tapped into the Pushing Forward Podcast, up and running, gone.
It's your boy Cat Daddy, neighborhood superstar. You're now tuned in to the Pushing Forward podcast. Let's dive.
You now tune into the Pushing Forward podcast with Mr. Jamal Potts.
Hey world, it's the one and only Trader Chef, your celebrity chef. Hey, you listen to the Pushing Forward podcast.